Thanks for staying on the program. Now, a leading member of the new Patriotic Party, Yao Safo-Mafo, is warning of political instability if the Electoral Commission fails to review the current voters' register. The opposition party earlier this week revealed that names of more than 76,000 Togolese nationals are captured in Ghana's electoral roll. Mr. Safo-Mafo, a former finance minister, tells Joy News the NPP will not allow elections to be conducted with that register.
I hope the new Electoral Commission, Madam Charlotte Osei, would look at this data and without any further ado declare that there's going to be a new voters register. Ghana will look ridiculous to the rest of the world after this revelation. This has been beamed live on a lot of networks and our embassies are watching. So after this, let's see what the government comes out with.
What could be the implication should the EC fail to act on this, moving forward into this very crucial election in 2016? What could be the implication?
Your guess is as good as mine. Stability is what we are all looking for. So if the Electoral Commission wants us to start the whole process on a firm footing, on a peaceful environment, then this overwhelming evidence for over-bloated, fraudulent register, people should answer for it, and therefore there is no other answer but to have a new voters register. Even those who didn't have the evidence, now the whole country knows that the electoral register is flawed, it's fraudulent. Nobody will allow a president to be elected based on this register. That one, bear it in mind. People will not allow it.
Would the MPP allow it?
Why should we? I mean, you ask yourself, if it is proved that the electoral voters register is flawed, why should a Ghanaian allow the president to be elected based on flawed register? Why should Togolese come and elect a president for Ghana? We should all think right. This will undermine stability.
We'll stay on the MPP because the presidential candidate of the party, Nana Akufo-Addo, is expected to name his campaign manager by close of day today. Those tipped for the job include the party's former national chairman, Peter Mac-Manu, and former General Secretary, Dan Butchie. Political correspondent Kwache Afreniama joins me now to assess their chances. Kwache, when and how will this election be done?
Information we're gathering from highly placed sources within the new Patriotic Party is that the flag bearer now has settled on who his campaign manager already. And this is former chairman Peter Mac-Manu. In fact, just before we came on air, I was speaking to a number of sources within the party close to the flag bearer indeed. And the fresh information is that, in fact, this announcement was supposed to be made today, but the party is looking at, postponing it for about 2 more weeks because of the issues to do with the voters register, the controversy with that, and also the upcoming district level elections. But I can tell you that other members on this campaign team, you have John Boadu. He is the national organizer of the party. He will be director of operations. Now, John Boadu will be assisted by 2 other officials, 2 other national executives of the MPP. You have Samia Oku, national youth organizer, and you have the Nasara coordinator, Kamal Dean, assisting Samia Oku work as the director of operations on this particular campaign team. Now, you have another top gun of the MPP here as well. You have Stephen Intim. This was a man who contested for the national chairmanship position, and he lost. But interesting as well is Alan Chirmante. It's not clear now what exact role he'll be playing. But I can tell you, and there's been a lot of talk and discussion about whether or not the national chairman, Paul Afoko and Kwabena Japan, will be involved in this. What I understand, what we're picking up from, sources within the hierarchy of the MPP is that they are going to be part of the campaign team. But what our sources tell us again is that their role, quote and unquote, may not be so visible or prominent. They will not be. Do
you see a problem with that when the chairman and the general secretary do not play active role in the campaign team?
Well, leading to what we now know is, the flag bearers settling eventually on Peter Mac-Manu. There's been a lot of talk and discussion about this, whether or not they should be sidelined. In fact, we had a top member of the MPP, the chairman of the National Council of Elders in the Ashanti region, Mr. Isibuating, for example, calling for Paul Afoko and Kwabena Japan to be sidelined. And even leading to this again, we'd had sources within the party saying that it's possible that these officers could be sidelined. And so looking at all this within that context, it's quite curious why, again, even though they have been put on the campaign team, there is this talk about the fact that they may not be playing prominent roles. We know yesterday at this NEC meeting organized, we understand that Mr. Kwabena Japan talked about the fact that he's not being allowed to do his work, he's not being allowed to play a prominent role. Well, this could further, breed that sort of impression that, well, this is just, cosmetic. Put them there, don't really involve them. Remember the issue about certain Agenda 2020, that Kwabena Japan and Paul Afoko have an agenda against Nana Akufo-Addo. Eventually, don't let the man get elected as the running mate of the party, so that Alan Chimanten's political ambitions can be realized. And
let's try and know the man, Peter Mac-Manu. It's not the first time he's leading a campaign team, is it?
I mean, this is a man who has a background in business. Peter Mac-Manu has also served as the chairman of the party in 2008 when the MPP lost the election. He was the chairman at the time. But of course, because of his experience within the party, serving as a polling station executive right to the top, he has gathered a lot of experience. He's dealt with a grassroots. So Peter Mac-Manu is the typical grassroots person. If you look at the MPP now, the grassroots level, in terms of the involvement, it starts from the polling station level, the polling station executives, and there's a man who has interacted with them. You have, and again, if you're talking about the executives within the party who have who come in large numbers, it's the polling station executives, and they deal with the people. They interact with the people who are supposed, the floating voters, the people who are supposed to ensure that the MPP retains power. So having Peter Mac-Manu is going to be to the advantage of the MPP. And one other point, looking at all the factions within the MPP, I mean issues with controversy about divisions and all that. Mac-Manu's name has not come up as belonging to one camp, the Alan Chimanten camp or the Akufo-Addo camp. So it's having, again, a sort of a neutral force who can bring all the forces together to ensure the party's victory. But let me tell you about one other interesting thing, not necessarily related to Mac-Manu, but it has to do with strategy. The strategy that we understand that Nana Addo is adopting. Now, one thing that Nana Akufo-Addo did that ensured that he won overwhelmingly at the last flag bearership contest, which Alan Chimanten lost to him and some other candidates, Atani and co, was that he decentralized his campaign team. He used the regional chairman and that sort of thing. And another we understand wants to replicate the same strategy here. So even though you have a core team at the top, Mac-Manu, John Boedu, Stephen Tim and Alan Chimanten and co, he's going to focus his campaign he's going to deal with the grassroots more. So he's going to, Nanado is going to involve the regional chairman. He's going to put them in charge of the campaign at the regional level. Now, you also have constituency executives working under him. So this is a strategy that Nana Addo is adopting to ensure we understand that he wins the 2016 election, third time going into this.
In other words, I mean, if you think this is a good composition for the NPP?
Certainly, and focusing really on the strategy he's adopting. You want to be on the ground. You want to be in touch with the people. Of course, Nana Addo went round, third time running. He's been around the country. In 2012. That campaign that was led by Boakye Jakon, it was such that Nana Addo was able to travel around across the country. Now, so you say that looking at this, he's well marketed, and having the men at the grassroots lead the team from the ground will certainly aid the cause of the MPP.
Indeed. We'll leave it here for now. Kwache Afre Nyama is a political correspondent. Now, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has announced a ban on the movement of poultry, its products and feed from Accra to any part of the country. The ban is to curb the further spread of bird flu, as some birds in the capital could still have the virus. Deputy Agriculture Minister in charge of livestock, Dr. Hannah Bissell, says the ministry is engaging the security agencies to enforce the ban.
A total of 40,154 birds have been killed since the ministry confirmed the outbreak of bird flu 2 months ago. Another 23,987 birds have died naturally from the disease. The cases have so far been concentrated in the Greater Accra, Volta and the Ashanti regions, with 9 out of the 14 districts in Accra recording cases. The Ministry of Agriculture had earlier prohibited hawking of live birds in the capital, a ban which was casually overlooked by most poultry retailers. It, however, says the latest ban on the movement of birds, poultry products and feed in and out of Accra should help reduce the spread.
We are strictly banning every form of poultry and poultry product out of Accra into any other regions. The first outbreak that we had in the Ashanti region of Boase, we've not had any other outbreak ever since. So we will cautiously say that Ashanti region is safe. The other regions, we cautiously say that they are safe. Unfortunately, we will not be able to enter into people's homes to see who has backyard poultry or not. Unfortunately, these backyard poultries, they find themselves with the flu on our markets. What we found on Kantamanto market was backyard. And we did not know how many of those birds had been sent out on the streets. And so we are zoning, and as we go down, we will let you know the zones and the measures that are being taken. We need to take these measures to make sure that in the next few months, getting to Christmas, our region, Greater Accra, the capital of Ghana, is free of the bird flu, and the other regions are safe from the disease. And no farmer from any other region should accept any product from anybody coming from Greater Accra, if even it's imported and they are transporting from Greater Accra, without the veterinary certificate that says that it is safe to have it.
The ministry, since the outbreak, said it needed a budget of 11 million Ghana cedis to implement emergency containment measures. Farmers affected were supposed to have been compensated. They are, however, yet to receive any such monies. But Dr. Bissell says discussions are ongoing for the disbursement to begin.
Government is working out the modalities to pay compensation to affected farmers. Monies have been approved, and so we will consequently work on the percentage, because the numbers will have to be audited. It has to go through a number of things before you can say that Farm A is due so much. And government will only pay for birds that we destroy. So we advise farmers that immediately you see the first death or the first abnormality in your bird, report to the vets. We will give numbers that you have to call at the end of the day. To the backyard farmers,
the ministry has meanwhile rolled out an awareness campaign for stakeholders in the country in order to safeguard against the spread of bird flu. Matilda Pomaga for Joy News, Accra.
You're watching Joy News Desk. We are back with some business stories with Beatrice Edu. Don't go away.